Morning, committee, Mr. Chair. Happy to be here this morning. Hope you're not disappointed that I did not bring a PowerPoint presentation. So you're just gonna have to listen, to me. I'll try to be as charming as I can be. I have been an Irving resident. My name is Pete Miller. I've been an Irving resident for 33 years. I live in the beautiful Nichols Park neighborhood, which is in central Irving. I applied for a position on the IPAR board because I believe in the benefits of Parks and Rec. And at the time, I participated in the focus group that the consultants were putting together in relation to our 25-year master plan. I thought it was a very exciting time for Irving and Irving Parks. Parks, obviously, we all understand they're a vital part of our community. And they definitely have an influence on attraction and also retention. We have some great amenities in this city, some beautiful trails, green space, parks, recreation centers, golf course is awesome. And so I think that does a really good job of being retention amenities and helps keep the community stable. This fall I will finish my second full term. I'm the current board chair, and I'm honored on behalf of the board to provide an overview of how our current board operates. I think it's important to understand from our point of view what our role is. It's important to stay committed but not overstep. So as the city of Irving defines the Parks Board on the website and also on the charter, says that we advise the city council and the Parks Director on matters relating to IPAR. I think the operative word is advise there. We are an advisory position, not a voting board. And we don't hire or fire, we don't set budgets, we don't set policy, but we do influence and promote change and growth, I believe, in the best interest of the citizens. Bottom line is we are the eyes and the ears out in the community for the staff and for the council. I think I'm very proud to serve with the group that we have right now on this board. It's a great group of individuals. I think the best way to describe them is being committed, enthusiastic, collaborative, and effective. We have formed a great solid working relationship, was actually parlayed into some friendships. I know you understand how that all works when you work together with people, but we genuinely like to hang out with each other. And that shows, I think, that there's a diverse set of skills on our board, some very different backgrounds, and really believe that it's important to leverage that diversity. You're always going to find strong board representation at community events and meetings. The fun events, of course, again, we like to hang out with each other so we have a good time. But also the important meetings where we get citizens' input. Recently, we've had some important discussions about aquatics, and it's been important for us to be there. So you're always going to find this board present and visible at public input meetings, obviously listening to what the community is looking for, and also being approachable at the back of the room so that people that may not be comfortable asking questions in the main session can come back and have a candid conversation with us. So we think that's important. You'll also find this board, those that are available on Thursday nights, will be often attending city council meetings and establishing interactions with city council as well as city manager's office. Most important, we have a great park staff from leadership all the way down, and I think we have established a good working rapport with that team, and we're very proud of it. And as well as the CIP staff, CIP does a great job of putting together the projects that everyone comes up with. So we have a great working relationship with them as well. So last fall, we were made aware of some recent charter amendments, and I think this was all under the leadership of Kyle Taylor, regarding boards and commissions and how we can change them and basically to try to encourage boards and commissions to further improve involvement and engagement. Our board saw this as a big opportunity. We started discussing, how we can do this with department leadership, and how we could actually create, foster more productivity with our involvement. We didn't want to do things, create activity that's going to cause more work for the staff. They're busy as they are. We don't want to put more work on their plate. But any way we can do any kind of practical manner which we can foster productivity is what we were looking for. So after a few meetings, we decided to form 3 committees, and each committee has 3 members on it. Now this is not anything that's really profound. necessarily, but it is relatively unprecedented for our board. And so the three categories that we came up with are beautification, which the committee would basically monitor corridors and parks and conditions and work with Rick Hose and his team over there, keep Irving beautiful in regards to adopt a spot, things like that. Events and programming is another committee. What's working, what's not working at our events, what's working in the programming for the rec centers, just kind of keeping an eye on it. Again, not being Nazis, but basically kind of just having a little bit more involvement so that we can provide some better input. The third committee I think is real important, which is communication. We all know that information gets disseminated in lightning speed these days, and sometimes it's not always the best information. I think our communications team here at the city does a great job of trying to take care of all that, but there's people out there that are just gonna spread stuff that's just not true. And so I think it's important for us to come up with creative ways to help mitigate that misinformation out there. And also as a team, we like to go around and discover what's going on in the North Texas region, what's working, what's not working, basically our competitive analysis of what's happening out there in North Texas, which I think is really important. So all of that said, it's basically small group dialogue that we can have between monthly meetings and regarding timely issues, so that when we do meet on the second Monday of each month, we have a little bit more productive discussions. And we know what we're talking about. We can bring to the table some things that are really important to talk about. So, and of course, all of this would be in small groups, which is out of quorum, and certainly in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, which I think I'll get a couple of amens on that one. So in closing, I'd just like to say that with the passion that this board has, we will definitely continue to refine our role and do it in the best interest of the city of Irving. So I will open it up to any questions, comments, accolades. Al?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. That was excellent. Nice to see a chairman of one of our boards or commissions here. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you.
I think you have a couple of your members of the board. Would you like to introduce them?
Absolutely, yes. We do have, again, we always show up. So Mr. Paul Silverleaf, who is the vice chair, is here, and also Ms. Fatima Bevigi, who is, all of us have been on board for about 3 years or so, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming down, and I think this is good for us to hear as we continue to do that work on what we're looking for from other council members that kind of come and talked about how we want our boards to kind of work and have a presence in the meetings to report back to us in a way, just kind of let us know what's going on. And I think Parks, y'all have done a really good job of kind of walking that line. Sometimes we come back, so I think you've done a really good job, and I think you've kind of set an example. And I appreciate staff, working with staff and kind of giving you a little bit of leeways. Anybody served on a board knows that all your work gets done in committees. And so I'm interested to see as you work through those committees, how those committees tie back into what you're doing already as a full board, to relay that information back, especially on the events and programming.
Mm-hmm.
As you have your rec center liaisons talk about maybe in a little bit more detail as to what the success, start collecting some of that more information, working with staff, to kind of report back to, so we can know kind of what's working, what's not working. But I do appreciate the Parks and Rec board kind of stepping up and kind of doing this. And again, I appreciate staff, working together with staff to kind of lead down this way. It's led to some really good discussions, I know, as being in Parks and Rec, on getting information and doing the right thing for the city as a whole. So I appreciate that effort. So thank you. Thanks for everyone's involved.
Anyone else?
Oscar?
Yeah, this is, Mom. Yeah. So, this is my, last meeting, and as you know, it turned out, and I can reflect back, 2014 and progress the various boards and commissions have made. And I just want to commend you and your leadership and the rest of your board members that participate, and the involvement, the changes you're making, and suggestions. I think it's fantastic. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your service the last 6 years, or 9 years, I should say. And we just have a great team in place. It's very easy to lead a great team, as you well know. So.
John?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you very much, Mr. Miller, for coming down and talking to us. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I am thrilled to hear about the success that you've been having, especially with the small committees. Could we get, and you could work with staff, with Joe Moses or Teresa, could we get a rundown of how you structure the committees, who's on which committees, and then is it by appointment, do you vote on who's on which one? Just so we have some idea of how we might encourage other boards to follow the same tracks, because I'd be fascinated to see how you guys took the initiative to figure out how to structure that.
Sure. This is something that's gonna evolve, I think, over time. We started the discussion earlier in the year, and we basically just kind of formed the committees a couple of meetings ago. So, we're just kind of getting our,
So, okay,
you know,
yeah.
getting it started, and, but I think it's gonna be very effective. Amy?
No, I just want to add that I'm more than happy to supply, and I just want to show my appreciation for Pete and the park board. Very helpful, committed, and just, I love the collaboration that we have with the park board. It's very productive.
Yeah, and I think as we go back into, board appointment process, we need to kind of look at who we have on the Parks Board as kind of an example of those citizens you'd like to have on our boards that are willing to step up and show out, participate, be involved, and then be really good ambassadors to, not just for what they do, but for the city as a whole. So I think that's something we need to remember as we go into the interview process. Thanks. Anybody else? All right.
Rick, thanks for your advice.
Thank you, sir.